Hey everybody, and welcome to another edition of Saturdays on Lotus Lane. We're so glad you've joined us. And with all the hustle and bustle of Christmas and things just kind of getting ready, our schedules have been completely crazy. So tonight, what we want to do Thursday night is we want to drop one video for the last two games of the playoffs for the first round. Now, here's the thing about this: Notre Dame is all mad at the wrong people. You can't be mad at Miami. They beat you head to head. You can't be mad at Alabama for playing in the conference championship, which you don't belong to. But you can be mad at Tulane and James Madison, who has no business in the college football playoffs. Now, Cody, I'm not saying that James Madison Tulane doesn't have a chance in this game. But what I am saying is pigs can fly, hell can freeze over, and my mom could love me again. We'll all see. But anywho, I can say that because she doesn't watch the videos. But
she may watch this one.
Yeah, this is going to be clipped and sent to her. That's okay. Mom loves me, I promise. Anywho. Tulane and James Madison has gotten in under a technicality where they have played, well, Tulane has only played one Power 4 conference game, and that was against
Tulane has played Ole Miss.
Ole Miss. And it was, what, 40...
It was a 20-something point game, for sure, wasn't it?
It was, what, 45, 44 to 10?
Maybe, something like that.
It was bad. And so we've already seen this, and we've got to watch it again. And what's crazy about this is you put Alabama and Oklahoma, which I'm not upset about, 8 o'clock Friday night. Okay. But then you put Miami and Texas A&M at 12 o'clock on Saturday. And for you to watch these two games, you have to watch them on TNN, True TV, or HBO Max. That's how bad they are. They don't even get a primetime spot on TV Saturday evening and then Saturday night. It's bad football. Mm-hmm. I don't like it. I don't think this should be the way the college football is playing. If you want these guys to have a chance, let them have their own playoff. I want the best 12 teams in. Mm-hmm. Before we go any further, though, I do want to give a shout-out to Brittany Sweet Treats. Just over here to my left, right in front of Cody, is some of her famous chocolate chip cookies and Christmas sugar cookies, and they are some of Cody's favorites. He is sitting here trying to figure out which one he wants. Now, I want you to understand that is your wife's favorite and one less that she gets to eat.
Yeah, it's her fault for leaving them in front of me.
That's right. Well, but Brittany Sweet Treats, if you are needing any cakes or cupcakes, cookies, or hot chocolate bombs. I had one just earlier tonight. It was delicious. I love them. They are great and just fun for kids to have. But if you're needing somebody to do that, Brittany Sweet Treats is the place to be. Now, Cody, let's look at this. I don't think there's much to dissect, but I think I would much rather see Ole Miss play James Madison and Tulane play Oregon. Here's my reasoning. I think James Madison has the better offense against a struggling defense of Ole Miss. Mm-hmm. Tell me if I'm wrong.
I think you're right. And I don't want to see a game like we're going to do anyways tomorrow night. I really don't want to see the game played again that's already been played this year, especially in the first round.
Not in the first round.
In the first round. You can't control what happens in the second.
Yes.
But in the first round, I'm not a huge fan of it. Now, can we help it? Maybe. But especially with the two our group of fives, you probably could have avoided that one a little bit easier than the 8-9 with Alabama and Oklahoma. But I agree, though. I do think it would have been a better viewing point if it were the other way around.
I'm not mad that we're having to watch Alabama Oklahoma. It was a 2-point game. Hang on, excuse me. This is when I wish we had two cameras.
Bless you.
And you can look away from me while I do that. But I'm not so mad. It was a 2-point game last time. Very good to watch where Ole Miss and Tulane were
45-10.
45-10. So 35-point game.
Yep.
You don't want to see that. And it's crazy that, 35-point game, and they're only up 17.5 points. favorite. Now, that may have a lot to do with Lane Kiffin not being on the sideline, which we'll talk about. Does that make a difference? But you look at the Oregon and James Madison game, who Oregon, I feel, is a more solid team on defense, not as powerful on offense, but they're going to hold James Madison to fewer points than what you would see Ole Miss be able to do. That's a 20.5-point favorite in Oregon's favor. Now, Cody, let's talk about it. Ole Miss head coach is gone. You still have Charlie Weiss Jr., who will be in the press box calling the game for the offense. So that's their offense coordinator. Has been their offense coordinator all year, so it's a familiar voice in the headset. But you don't have that figure on the sideline in Lane Kiffin.
Right.
How bad does that affect morale? How bad does that affect just the flow of the game? You've got another person who is kind of calling the shots. I don't see him being as eager to go for fourth down as Lane Kiffin would be. So there are some differences in their coaching strategies. How does it affect Ole Miss Saturday?
I'll be honest with you. I think the players, from what I've seen and kind of read into, I think the players have kind of moved on. Where we would think that this, if it would have been maybe a week ago,
if they were playing the SEC championship game,
a week or two ago, maybe, where it would have bothered them a little bit more. But I think with the amount of time that they've had off, that they've been able to move on, they've been able to practice without him. They've not had that voice in their head for at least 10 days. I think that goes a long ways and will play a big thing into it. So I don't think not having Lane is going to be as a big a factor, honestly, as I even thought originally. But the more I think about it, the more I've kind of forgotten that they don't even have it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of...
We haven't seen a game, though, so that makes it easier, out of sight, out of mind.
But the players are also going to want to prove the point. It's not just the coach. It's the players were the reason that they were there, that they've earned that right because they played the game.
So you look at this, now they have, I'm going to say that they're going to win. I don't know what the percentage likelihood of them winning is right now, but I would assume it's pretty high, in the 90%. And they've got Georgia, New Year's Day. And I know we're looking ahead, and we may talk about this a couple of times before this even happens, but when Ole Miss does get kicked out of the playoffs, if they do, do you think Trinidad Chambliss goes into the transfer portal and follows Lane Kiffin to LSU?
I'm not sure. I think there's a lot of quarterbacks out there that probably would be ranked higher, even in Coach Kiffin's mind, that would be available for him. I think he may stay. He's only transferred once. He's not a guy who's bounced around like some other guys have. So he may try to stay and make a name for himself and kind of just show he's not necessarily just a system quarterback, but that he is a good quarterback. I don't know. It's hard to say one without really knowing the kid. The kid's getting a lot of playing time. He's the face of the program right now. So I would say right now I wouldn't think he would, but that could change.
So we'll leave that game for just a moment. We'll go over to the Oregon and James Madison game. There's a reason you play the game. Mm-hmm. Oregon can come into this game, and so could Ole Miss, and be thinking, okay, this game's in the bag. It's a 20.5-point favorite. There's no reason how James Madison could win this game, and be looking at Texas Tech. What does James Madison have to do, if that is a scenario, to pull off an upset like this?
Well, the first thing they got to do is stay on schedule, meaning they got to stay ahead of the chains. They're not from what I've researched, they're not a big explosive team. They don't have a lot of explosive plays. They're very methodical and they'll work their way down the field. They're very controlled and physical up front. They are a good team. There's a reason that they're there at 12 or wherever they're at, 11 or 12, whichever one. Which are they? 11.
12.
Okay, they're a reason they are there. They won the games they're supposed to. But they're going to be heavy run, and if they can out physical Oregon up front, that could come into their advantage. Oregon's very athletic defensively, especially on the back end. They always have been, but they really are this year. So if James Madison can just, one, stay ahead of the chains, which, like I said, is very important for them. But if they do that, I think they keep this game a lot closer than people were expecting.
So James Madison, and I want to talk about this because I am impressed with their quarterback, Alonzo Barrett III. Now he is he's 55th in total yards on passing yards, which is 2,533. He's got 21 touchdown passes, which is tied for 34th in the country. He has thrown 8 interceptions, which ties him in 74th. So that's actually a pretty low number. And his QBR is at 61.5, and he's right there at 62nd in the nation. Now, you may think, wow, that doesn't sound like a great quarterback. He plays for James Madison, okay? He's a dual threat quarterback. It doesn't give me... It gives me completions. I want rushing yards. So, rushing against Troy, when I watched this game, he had 12 carries. He carried it for 85 yards.
Just enough to keep him honest.
Just enough to keep him honest. And this makes him very dangerous, even against an Oregon team.
Against any team.
So,
quarterback that can move and make the right reads is crucial.
And he takes a hit. I mean, he's a little bit shorter. He's 6 foot even, just an inch taller than I am. Against an offensive line who ranges from 6'2" to 6'6". So he could be a little taller. He is just a junior, but he is very competitive, and he's not going to go down on one blow. He is going to take a third and fourth guy to bring him down. He is very, very strong coming out of the backfield, and not easy to take down on one-on-one sack opportunities. So Oregon does have to get home. They do have to cause pressure on him. But overall, it is James Madison. I know they won their conference. I know according to the College Football Selection Committee rules, they are the ones to get in. But rules need to be changed. I think we agree. And this year just shows that something has to give because it was a packed house. Last year, I was sitting there and, Alabama with 3 losses was they were definitely better than SMU and Clemson. But at no point did I think that they deserved to be in. They looked really bad last year. I think we agreed on that. They were the first team out with SMU getting in after getting beat by Clemson in the ACC championship game. But this year you have a Vanderbilt team who I think, even with their strength of schedule, deserved an opportunity to get in. Texas was sitting right there. I know they had 3 losses, but they wasn't big losses. They were all right there. The Georgia game was a pretty big loss. But the Florida, but Ohio State right there at the beginning of the year, very close game. And that was with their quarterback not playing very good. Mm-hmm. So you had teams there. Notre Dame was right there. And those 3 teams should have been bidding for 11th and 12th spot, not these 2 teams. But the system is what we have. Cody, let's pick these 2 games. There's nothing pretty about them. We're going to start with Ole Miss and Tulane. Do you see any difference in what happened last time to this time?
I think it's a closer game. I do think it's a closer game. But I think in the end, I still think Ole Miss has too many playmakers with Lacey out of the backfield. I just think he alone could control a lot of this game. Chambliss with his legs as well. A lot of zone reads, I'm sure, RPOs. I don't think so. I mean, it might be closer, but I don't think it's a difference in the win and loss.
I don't see how it's closer. The only reason it wasn't more was because Ole Miss took a lot of their players out pretty early on in the second half. I've got Ole Miss. I don't think it's close. I think it's ugly. Tulane may be really good in their conference, but we watched this show, and I just don't see it changing up much at all, if any. But let's look at Oregon and James Madison. I think this game will be closer than the Ole Miss and Tulane game, just because I feel like James Madison is a more complete team. What do you got?
I agree. I think Oregon. I think Oregon takes the game, but I think James Madison's going to slow it down, and the over/under is not going to. It's not going to hit no matter what it says it is. I think they're going to slow the game enough. They're going to get the yards that they need, and take possessions away from Oregon. Oregon, it relies on those explosive plays, and if James Madison can just slow those down and maybe get a turnover or two, it can make it a game. I do think that.
So, just looking at James Madison's schedule, the only Power 4 conference game they had was against Louisville. And this was actually when Louisville was, they were getting ranked, things like that. They only lost 28-14. Mm-hmm. So they've put up some big numbers. They beat Georgia Southern. They beat Liberty. They beat Appy State. Everybody's beat Marshall. And they handled their own against Troy, which was an Alabama team. So I think this is a closer game than what we will see against Ole Miss and Tulane. But there's just Oregon is legit and will give Texas Tech trouble New Year's Day when they play. But I do see that this is going to be a closer game regardless. I think Oregon may pull away late in the second half to make it look bigger than what it was. But I'm going to pick Oregon. But guys, college football. Tomorrow night starts the college football playoffs. And you have Alabama, Oklahoma, you have Texas A&M and Miami, you have Tulane and Ole Miss, and then you have James Madison and Oregon all playing in the next 48 hours. We'll be sitting here watching that final game. So, enjoy your weekend. I hope you enjoy the college football playoffs, at least the first two games that they're going to present you, the last two games. Hopefully you have subscriptions to where you can watch those games. But I digress. I hope y'all have a great night. Enjoy. As always, it is Saturday on Loner's Lane. And guys, Merry Christmas.